The other big thing that happened this week is I have stopped drone racing. Well, maybe not, I haven't stopped racing, but WV Rotorsports is a group that I started 2 years ago and was on a MultiGP chapter. We were the first real active group in West Virginia. That's really not saying a lot, but it was something to be proud of. Our first year started off really great, and we started with 2 people, jumped up to 5, then 10. By the end of our first year, we were tier 2. It was fantastic. We really just had an explosive growth. This year started off really good. We started off with some donations from local companies, as well as some big name vendors, Brain FPV being one of them. Donated a lap timing system for us. We had some prizes donated for races. Local companies donated EMT conduits so we could build a permanent race course with a cool tower. CityNet, which is a local ISP, donated some money, and we were able to buy a PA system, canopies, tables. Really went all out and had an awesome first event. We went out to our piece of land where we've been flying for the last couple of years, and built an awesome race course. It had a 2-story tower and permanent gates. Pretty much anybody who was a local member of our AMA club could go out there and race whenever they wanted to. It was always set up and ready for you. The day after we set it up, I went back out to fly, and we had a big windstorm that night, and it knocked over the tower. Well, no problem. Kind of planned ahead here, and we had some spare conduit, so it wasn't a problem. As I'm working on repairs, I get an email from the local AMA club president. It says, "Hey, call me." That's not normal, so I gave him a buzz and found out that the landowner had asked us to leave. We don't really know what happened, what changed his mind, why we didn't want to be there. He says we're welcome to fly as long as we stay down at the other side of the field, which is where the traditional fixed wing runway is. But the other part of land that was close there that we were using, he didn't want us to use anymore. So everything that we had worked up for and built up had to be gone. Needless to say, I didn't take it very well. But I did as we were asked, and within 24 hours our racetrack was gone. Loaded it all up in my car, brought it home, put it in the garage, and cracked open a beer. So for the next couple days, things were sketchy. We didn't know if we were going to be able to race, where we would, if this was even worth it at this point. But I didn't want to give up, and after speaking to our pilots, neither did they. So we started looking for options. We happened to get in touch with someone of the local Parks and Recreations department, and they said, "Hey, we've got land, we'd love to have you." So we started working with them. We held an event earlier in the year on a football field, essentially. It ended up being a really nice event. It was really windy that day, but it was our first attempt at having this portable gear to set up. First event with the timing system, and really our first real public event. I remember at one point in the race turning around and seeing 10 to 15 people just sitting on the hillside watching the race, and we had a family show up just to see us. It was a really good feeling and had restored a lot of hope that we were still going to have a successful year. Unfortunately, as things progressed, there were some changes with the Parks and Rec department and some weather delays that pushed all of the local sports, high school baseball, things like that, delayed them and started causing problems with our schedule. There was a moment where we had just set up a race course on a baseball diamond, and then a high school baseball team shows up and says, "Hey, we have a game today." We had that field reserved, but unfortunately the field ended up being double booked, and we weren't made aware, and that was kind of a bummer. So we had to tear everything down, having just set it up. It's 90 degrees outside, we're all tired, we're all angry. Wasn't a good situation. We made the best of it. We went to the local AMA club there, different town, but a lot of our pilots are from that club, and ended up having a great time there. They got a great field, it's a great bunch of pilots there, and really made the best of a bad situation. after that incident, once baseball season was over, we had a couple more races, and it ended up being nice. We had a couple short events were canceled for weather or scheduling or whatever, but we were getting less and less pilots showing up, to where most of our races this year were 4 or 5 people, and carrying 5 gates, 5 lags, a canopy, a PA system, a timing system. It was a big hassle for me, obviously, but even for our pilots to all show up an hour or 2 early to set up all this gear. With 4 pilots, we can run through 8 heats in an hour, maybe 2 hours if we go slow or have problems, and then it takes another hour or 2 to tear everything down. It ended up being more work than flying, and it started to get to everybody, I think. The weather this year has been bad as well, so it just seemed like everything was stacked against us. There was a light at the end of the tunnel later in the year, just actually August. We held our first big event at a local county fair in Morgantown, West Virginia. I really wanted this to be the thing that saved us. We invited pilots from all over. We had representatives from Pittsburgh. We had pilots all the way from Cleveland, from Maryland. We had a great bunch of pilots come down, 20 pilots in total. We were racing on an AstroTurf football field at a public fair. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better situation. The weather was gorgeous. We had everything out. We had music playing. We had just great pilots. It was a great show. Tons of spectators stopped by throughout the day to see what was going on. Had a lot of help from Quad Racing Group Ohio. Just Paul, thank you so much for helping me run that race. It was fantastic. And just a fantastic event. We had some really great prizes. We had a package from Catalyst Machine Work that donated a frame and a hat and some gear. We had props for everybody from FPV Depot, battery straps from all kinds of different vendors. Brain FPV had a full flight control stack that we gave away, 2 actually. We had an awesome chair backpack combo thing from Chairpack. Very cool stuff, and ended up being a fantastic event. Really, really happy with how it turned out. It was so good, in fact, that shortly thereafter we were contacted by the state fair for next year, and that was kind of intimidating. Knowing that the majority of the pilots that came to that race were from out of state, it made it hard to justify saying, yeah, I'll do a race at the state fair. I couldn't guarantee that people would come. They were also hoping that we would do an agricultural demo, and I'll be honest, I don't have the resources for that. I don't have the time to develop something like that, and I just wanted to race. I didn't want to be an educational resource. I didn't want to be anything more than just a guy putting on races and having a good time. From all these other outside sources, that's what I kept getting asked. Can you teach me how to race? Can you put on a race and give a demonstration at this area over here? Can you come out and teach this group of Boy Scouts how to start their own league? And now, I tried some of it. I did. I helped start up a couple other MultiGP chapters. I tried to work with MultiGP on some of the site features and stuff they're going for. I really tried to be as involved as possible, but the result was it was eating up all my time between just trying to volunteer for this stuff and still trying to schedule races along with the Parks and Rec department. So what it boiled down to was, after we had our huge race in August, some time went by, and I just brought it up to the pilots. Now, if any of you guys want to step up and take a leadership role, let me know. Otherwise, we're done. And what I found out was a lot of people in the same situation as I was. We just don't have the time, don't have the resources, and so for now, we're done. And I'm not happy about it. Matter of fact, I'm pretty torn up about it, but it's okay. You know, when we run a race, we're going to get together, and we'll set up some flags, some gates, and we'll have a good time. It's never going to be what it was, at the end of that first year, beginning of this year. It was short, and we burned hard, and we burned out, and that's okay. That happens. I have a tendency to jump headfirst into hobbies and go a little crazy, so it made sense at the time. If you did get a chance to race with us, I want to say thank you for supporting us. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to everybody who came out and just enjoyed FPV drone racing with us. It was fantastic. I had a blast, and everyone who supported us along the way, thank you sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. It meant a lot to me to be involved with something like this and to have it actually work.